This is WPTV.
Schiller, and welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of Room Report. We're back, and we have the latest celebrity news in their lives, music, and their controversies. But first, I have this week William Paterson News. They hosted the Gubernatorial Debate, and the event came with protests and a very aggressive debate between Phil Murphy and Guadagno. Let's take a look.
What I want to know from you, Phil, is while you were in Atlantic City last night, did you visit that food bank that I talked about last week so you could talk to some of the people who are working 2 jobs every day to put food on their table? Did you visit that food bank to talk to the woman who needed to go to the food bank twice a week in order to put food on her table? Because if you had, you would have heard that they can't afford more property taxes, higher property taxes. I'm going to lower property taxes, you're going to raise them, and you're going to move these people out of New Jersey.
You've left the middle class behind, and now you've left the truth behind. You know those numbers aren't true, and you're saying them, and you're making them up, and you're talking about me and the turnpike and fares and running for president. We got to get back and base this discussion on the truth, because that's what people showed up for to hear tonight. You've got. Sorry, I couldn't hear you there. Sorry. You've had the backs of hedge funds.
The question was
you've had the
shout.
I hope you
Murphy,
were as aggressive
go.
with Governor Christie all these years in debating policy.
I went back when he said 2,821 days, and I figured that's about the amount of money you made per hour while you were in Goldman Sachs as one of those hedge funds.
That's got a lot to do with your answer, right?
I only started the battle with the governor publicly when he started to hurt the middle class with a 23-cent gas tax increase, something, by the way, that Phil Murphy completely endorsed. And that, to me, is not helping the middle class. That is not building up the middle class. That is hurting the very people who need the gas tax relief the most.
I just say this is after you and Governor Christie bankrupted the Transportation Trust Fund, and I'm looking at Sheila Oliver. She's going to be my partner 50-50 every step of the way.
I'm glad you
Now joining us on set is William Paterson SFA President Wyatt Mayes, who was also part of the Student Center panel after the discussion of the debate. Thanks for joining us, Wyatt.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, after watching that, one of the things that I saw that was very clear were the candidates, they were so focused on just throwing shade at each other instead of throwing the facts. I mean, did you have the same vibe coming from that?
Yeah, I definitely would say I had the same vibe. It's funny with like political debates, you typically want a little bit more of how are you going to do things, and it also kind of gives the candidates a moment to kind of rise above all the rhetoric and like try to become the candidate of the constituents. Unfortunately, it's just a symptom of what's been going on in 2016. Pretty much since the 2016 election, we'll really even want to take it further back since 2015, where rhetoric just has been kind of controlling politics. And it was last week was a symptom of that.
I definitely agree with you on that. And another thing that kind of also hit me and was very clear was during the debate, it was held on William Paterson campus, but a subject that really wasn't talked about that much was tuition. I mean, did you also, notice that? I mean, I feel like that was pretty hard not to notice.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard to notice. For me, Phil Murphy was the first political candidate that I actually heard say that he wants to give New Jersey students $8,000 to $10,000 in debt relief. And that's the first time I ever heard any political campaign said that, but I would love like some more expansion on that as well. Like, what exactly are you entailing when you say that kind of thing? Because that's a pretty big promise. And when you talk about tuition, it's also really a conversation about the debt in New Jersey, and a lot goes in that conversation. And I would love to hear more about that. And quite honestly, it also speaks to how young people are typically ignored in the political process. No one's really reaching out to us anymore.
I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, there were definitely some topics that I wanted more to be discussed about, but based on what they discussed, who do you think won the debate? And, you know, do you think that it was clear to the viewers, or maybe clear to even to yourself, who you and maybe some of the other audience will be voting for?
Well, for me, I wouldn't say there was a clear winner of the debate. Phil Murphy currently has a 15-point lead in the polls right now. So all he really did was just keep his lead. No one really came out and just, you know, became like defining, okay, this is who I want to be for the governor of New Jersey for the next 4 or 5 years. No one really kind of came out and said that. No one really won anything. It was just business as usual when it comes to politics since 2015, and that's really unfortunate.
I definitely hear on that. Thank you so much, Wyatt, for coming, for sharing your insight with us about the debate. And just remember to, guys, go out and vote, because it's a very important election. But coming up on Room Report, the crew is getting together to tell you all about the music business, so stay tuned.